Welcome to Louise Savage Muses. I'm Louise Savage and I muse about books mainly so far.
Hi everyone and welcome to my channel. I'm Simon and this is the first reading vlog of 2022, which feels very odd to say that because it's actually Monday the 27th of December. I've had a slightly lazy morning with Millie and watching my mum on YouTube, even though she's downstairs. We're actually going to be filming a video for YouTube later. But this week I am going to be reading, as it's going to be the first vlog of 2022, some of my most anticipated books of 2022 that I have. I don't know how many I'll be able to get through, we'll see, because one of them's a chunk, so that might have given away which one I'm probably going to be picking first. But before all that, I thought I would just share a few highlights from Christmas, because I didn't vlog it, so here they are.
Cheers!
Merry Christmas!
Merry Christmas! Merry Christmas!
You're amazing. Very well with that
Merry
one.
Christmas!
Merry Christmas to us! Merry Christmas to you and you and you and you.
And me.
Thank you.
There you go, lovely stuff. Now, I need to get up and try and find my brother to see if he'll drive me to Sainsbury's so that we can get some breakfast. And I also need some stuff for dinner tonight because I'm going to cook. Shock horror. Not a New Year's resolution because it's still 2021. Just whack my phone, trying to be cool. Should I move a little bit? Or is that too close? Is that better?
I am tiny these days. I'm not as big as I was.
She's shrunk.
You do shrink as you get older, don't you?
Okay. Anyway. Fascinating as this was, that's not what people are tuned in for. And just like that, everyone has gone. So to keep myself busy, I'm going to listen to an audiobook, I think, or maybe watch some booktube whilst I demeat the rest of the turkey, because I'm going to cook a turkey Thai green curry tonight, which will probably make Chris fall over because I never cook for us. I'm not really allowed. But yeah, it's been a lovely Christmas. And then once I've done that, I'm going to reward myself with the bit that you've actually been waiting for, possibly, and that is, what am I going to read first? Which 2022 release is going to be my first book this week? It is later on. I have done the turkey. I watched CJ Reed's Christmas vlog while I was doing that, and now I've run a bath, and so I'm going to pick the next book, or the books I'm going to start this vlog off with. And I say books because the book that I want to read next is To Paradise by Hanya Yanagihara. A Little Life was a Marmite book. Some people loved it, some people hated it. I really, really loved it. I thought it was a really powerful book, and so I'm really, really keen to read this. But it's huge. I don't think it's the right book to start in the bath. However, in 2022, I would like to read more books in the bath, because actually I like having a really long bath, but I'm dreadful at reading books, so I thought I would try short stories. And this short story collection is out in January, and I should say Hanya Yanagihara's is out in January. As this goes live, that'll be this month. Weird. And this is Send Nudes by Sarah Sams, and I asked for this from Bloomsbury. Partly, I will say, because of the title, and it seems apt because I'll be in the bath, though not sending any nudes. Hi everyone, it is Tuesday the 28th of December. It's about 10:30 in the morning. I've just had a very exciting phone call, but I'll tell you about that in a minute because book-wise, I didn't report back last night because after reading one short story from Send Nudes in the Bath, I decided I was changing my reading for the week. I'm going to carry on with that probably early in January or early this month as this goes live, because it's 2021 as I'm filming, but 2022 as it goes live. I feel like Doctor Who. I enjoyed the first one, but I want to talk about it more when I've read all the others, because To Paradise is an absolute chunkster, and I am going to just read this and then head to possibly some short books in between the different parts, because I do know if I'm in a big chunky book, I start thinking how many other books could I be reading. Also, there's only 4 days left of 2021. It's a big book. I think it's 700 and something pages. The exciting phone call this morning was from Radio 5 Live. So I'm going to be on there today between 1 and 2 p.m. It'll be on BBC Sounds once this has gone live, talking about books from 2021, and also doing the first bit of promotion for Turn Up for the Books, the new podcast on BBC Sounds that I'm one of the presenters on, which is just has made it all very real suddenly, because it was recorded all of on and off throughout 2021. So yeah, it's a bit strange and exciting, and so yeah, I'm looking forward to that. I need to get up, get dressed, have some breakfast, and watch one of Grace's vlogs that I missed last week. Hey up everyone, it is later on, and guess what? I've not read any of this yet. I've had a shower, my hair's gone really fluffy just in time for radio, thank goodness no one can see me. And I have been just having a little bit of sort this room out, and then Andy Oliver phoned me in a bookshop at an airport for some holiday recommendations, and we ended up having a right old natter. So I've got like 10 minutes until I need to be on air, so I don't think I'm going to get to this before then, because I don't want to I am a reader who needs to kind of really have a chunk of time for a new book, and generally reading in general, I need to have quite a chunk of time. So I will start this afterwards, I promise. I think we're about 8 minutes into a vlog and I've not even read a thing. I've talked about a lot of books though. Gosh, the light in here makes it look like I'm being interrogated. I suppose I am by all of you. On my thoughts on To Paradise by Hanya Yanagihara so far. I'm about 70 pages in, and I have met the Bingham family. We are in an alternate 1893 where some of history has happened, and there's been a war of rebellion, and it's set in an area which is like free states, where one family have come into a lot of money, and where in some ways it's very like everyone can love who they love, and that's what it seems. But actually, as you read on, you can see a little bit behind the surface, especially when talking about class and race. Things aren't quite as they might appear. But we've met David, who is the youngest of 3 siblings. His brother is married to a man, and his sister is married to a woman, and they have children, and it's now his turn to, there's arranged marriages, and so we see him being put into a potential arranged marriage with an older man. I say older man, the older man is 41, I'm nearly 40. Rude, Hanya, rude. However, somebody else has come into David's life, and things are shifting. I don't want to give much away, but we've also found out that something's happened in David's past that might affect him as a match to other people, and so actually he's having to marry down a little bit than what might be expected. So that's interesting. So I feel like there's little secrets hiding away, but yeah, I'm loving it. It feels like the book I keep thinking of actually is House of Mirth by Edith Wharton. It's got that feel to it, and I'm really, really loving that. And just the fact that it's like New York, well, a different kind of New York, an alternate New York, but in that sort of historical, it's wintry, it's a bit snowy, it's all the brownstones, so I'm loving that. And I already know now that when I go back to New York, I didn't go to, I want to say Lisbon Street, and I think that's wrong, from A Little Life, but I'm going to have to go there and to Washington Square to try and find out the Binghams. I wonder if Bingham's in a riff on anything from Bride and Bridges. Anyway, so there we go. That is what I'm thinking, but so far, as I just said on Twitter, I am involved, invested, and very much interested. That's my thoughts. I'll report back, although I'm going to do that without spoiling anything, also can you see the pages are being turned quite profusely. I have a finished copy, so I can do that with this. Anyway, that was a nearly 3-minute update on a book. Finally, I'm talking about a book. I'm probably not going to be able to read for much longer because I'll be due home soon, and then I think I'm going to have Christmas dinner Mark II with a film. I don't know if I'm going to watch Scream 2 because I'm very excited about Scream 5 and watched Scream the other day, or whether we're going to watch the Nicole Kidman film where she's playing Lucille Ball. One or the other. Hi everyone, look at that lovely winter sunlight coming through. Although I say that, I'm hoping that it's not going to be too bad for when I record my December book haul part 2 later, the penultimate video of the year. It is, I should say, sorry, Wednesday, December the 29th. It's about 12 o'clock. This morning I was up at I think 3, then 4, then 5. Chris then woke up in an absolute panic. He thought it was late for work. He thought it was 6 o'clock. It wasn't. It was 5 o'clock. And I am slightly kicking myself because I could have spent all that time reading, but I didn't. I sort of watched quite a lot of booktube because I was just a bit tired and groggy, and then spent ages trying to find a spa that me and Chris could go to tonight until, well, tomorrow basically, but couldn't find one in the whole of Cheshire, the Wirral or Merseyside or even North Wales. So, wow. But I did spend quite a lot of time finding a new thumbnail for 2022, and I like it. So you'll have probably seen a version of it on this video and yesterday's, which will have been my books of 2021. Anyway, I am 100 pages into To Paradise. I'm a little bit behind, and I'm going to try and catch up today because I did want to finish part 1, but I haven't. When I last spoke to you, David was going into an arranged marriage potentially with a man called Charles, who he liked but he wasn't sure about, and then he met someone else. That developed in both directions, and what I think, I'm not going to say which one it is because I really don't want to spoil this for anyone, because honestly it's brilliant. It is like reading a queer version of Edith Wharton, and I'm here for that. I don't know how I'm going to feel when it changes in the next segment. Anyway, but one of the characters changes sort of personality a little bit, which I found really interesting, and I shall say no more. But it looks at sort of morals, it looks at desire, it looks at how we can use our sexuality and sex as a weapon, as a comfort to ourselves, as a way of escaping from things, but also how we can use it in a cruel way. And I thought that was really, really interesting. And yeah, I can't say much more than that. There is a character, a sideline character, who I'm kind of hoping either comes really to the fore in the next 70 pages, because I'm 100 pages in, or gets their own book. And it's this sort of grande dame who has fallen out of favour. We find out a bit of her backstory, and runs this sort of not a house of repute, but a house for students and a house for poorer people, basically. I want to know loads more about her. But that's not what the book's about, so that's just a little aside. And a little note, if Hanya ever sees this, that if you want to give that character a whole book, please do. Because honestly, this style of writing, it's so Edith Wharton, and like I said, reminds me of House of Mirth. I think I said that in an earlier clip. But yet it's so contemporary. I don't know quite how she's doing it, but I'm absolutely bloody loving it. Hi. Hi and welcome. Hi and welcome to my channel. Hi and welcome. Hi everyone, it is much later. I've filmed, edited, uploaded my last haul of the year. And what I actually need to do shortly is I've sorted out the shelves over there and over there, but I need to put all my 2022 books from that video into these shelves so they're all in order, and then the shelves are sort of ready. The only ones that aren't, I've actually even done that trolley. That's how organised I've been. But the only shelves that aren't done are the books with my favourites of 2021. I think I'm going to film that video tomorrow or Friday. It's going up on Saturday before this goes live. And I'm stuck on whether I do 10 or 15 or 12, my favourite number. 12 and 24 are my two favourite numbers. Anyway, I also like 36. I like things that are divisible by 12. Moving on, I have finished the first part of To Paradise. So I'm a day behind, so I'm either going to have to catch up more tonight or tonight and tomorrow, because my plan is, if I'm honest, to have like 50 pages to go, or even actually maybe 30 pages to go after the stroke of midnight. So this is the last book I read of 2021 as I go into 2022, and isn't technically the first book I read, but the first book I finish, and then I know what my first read's going to be. Anyway, that's my little plan, my little plot. What I want to say to you about this without giving much away is that, wow, there's some drama, some secrets, some finding out, some ambiguousness, and I wasn't expecting that. I don't know how that part of the book is going to sort of meld into the next one, or ripple into the next one, or thread itself into the next one, whatever it's going to do, because I think now we go to the 80s in New York and the AIDS epidemic, I think, or the AIDS crisis. So yeah, that's going to be interesting and probably going to make me cry. I will say I wasn't as emotional as I thought I would be in the first part, but maybe that's coming. And maybe also it's not a book, because what I love about this so far is it's nothing like A Little Life, and I mean that in a good way. Like, I love A Little Life, but this is a very different book, and I'm really, really pleased, because if it had been A Little Life 2, I might have been a bit miffed. But yeah, what I think she does, giving voice to queer people, but also, again, looking at what prejudices are and aren't acceptable in certain people's eyes, and the hypocrisy of that in a lot of ways, and how everyone should be equal and not everyone is, and how in some parts of this alternate, late 1800s, it's fine to be queer, but like, people of colour are free, but they're not citizens. It's so interesting, the questions she raises, and she doesn't answer them all. She just sort of says, what do you think? Go away and think about that. And I love that too. So yeah, big hit. But I'm going to have a little break, and I can't decide if I'm going to take Strange Hotel into the Bath, which I've run by Eimear McBride, which I almost unhauled. And if you want to see some unhauling, it's on my Patreon, or will be very soon. Or do I want to head into the Bath with The Lost Daughter? I love this cover, but this is my last chance with Elena Ferrante. If I don't like this, we're done. I think I've not actually, I liked A Brilliant Friend enough, but the other ones have just left me cold. So yeah, we'll see. Anyway, gonna pick up those, pop a bath bomb in, but first of all, sort those shelves, and then Chris and I'll have tea after my bath, maybe watch a film, some telly. Dun 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 dun. Not done because they didn't come with any PR slips. Uh-oh. I didn't read anything in the bath. No, I watched new videos from Ashley and Gavin, and also decided that I am about to switch time periods in To Paradise, and if I read something in between, it might confuse me more. So, no. Morning everyone, Chris and I are off to go and get
PCR.
because somebody had a fever in the night and isn't feeling their best, and I've now, since he's mentioned it, not feeling 100%. So I gave it to Chris before, so if I've got it this time, you've given it to me.
It's the gift that keeps giving.
I should wait for those results. I thought I'd film in front of the tree because I think it's going tomorrow. I think Chris is about to enter the room with a whole cheese board. Yes, he is. I'll tell you about how I'm getting on with this after some cheese. So I'm back and full of cheese, and using To Paradise to block out the light. It's so big, frankly, it could block out the sun, but in a good way. Part 1 of part 2. Oh, it's telling me I've got a low battery. Part 1 of part 2, if that makes sense. We are in 1993 in New York. It's during the AIDS epidemic / crisis, and we meet a young man who's in a relationship with an older one who they work in the same building as how they met, and we get sort of quite a lot of insight into their relationship and the dynamic of it. They also have names of the characters from the previous part in the 1890s, and there are a few other characters with similar names. That's really interesting. But really it looks at death and grief, and the unsaid and the deaths that are unexpected when other deaths are so talked about, if that makes any sense, and how we deal with friendship. The thing I will say at the moment that's really kind of similar, I guess, to A Little Life is this book is very much about men not communicating with each other and not always finding the ability to say the things they want to say. And I find it interesting that that's something that she's looking at. Again, I don't know if that's the case with her first book. Anyway, the young man in question is Hawaiian, and I think in the next part we go to his father's story, a man who he didn't communicate with fully, which is why it brings that up. And I think there's some secrecy around him, but also whether a rumour is true that the young man we meet, who is living kind of in poverty in New York until he meets this older man, may be part of royalty in Hawaii. So I'm really intrigued for the next bit. There's also some foreshadowing of the future storyline in 2093, which was quite disturbing. So we'll see what happens. Oh, and I think what's going to link all of these stories is not just the characters' names and some of the situations they find themselves in, and how that doesn't change through time necessarily, even though maybe it should, but human nature is human nature. I think also it might be something to do with the house. So yeah, when I go to New York, I will definitely be trying to head to the house in A Little Life, which I didn't go to last time, or when I go to New York next time, I should say. But I'll also be heading to Washington Square. So yeah, that's my thoughts up to now. Hi everyone, and happy New Year's Eve, although this will go live on the 2nd of January, but the sentiment is there. I also like to say Happy Nude Year because I'm a child, so people will be enjoying that all of tomorrow. Anyway, I didn't catch up much yesterday because we just had a really chilled day where we sort of just vegged on the sofas. We're both feeling a bit bleh. We think we've got colds. We're still waiting to find out if we've got COVID or not. We've had our test. Chris is adamant we have. I'm like, nah, I don't think so. I think it's just cold, but we'll see. But I did read quite a lot more of To Paradise. Now, I am behind still. I should be there, and I am there. So I'm about 100 pages behind where I wanted to be this morning, but never mind. I think I can get this done today. Can you see how like much I've cracked the spine and stuff, and also like how many pages I fold down? Although there's a big chunk here where I think I got so lost in the story that I didn't turn any pages down. So I think I last spoke to you at the end of part 1 of part 2. I was liking it, but it wasn't quite what I was expecting. And then we headed off to Hawaii for the father of one of the characters that I'd mentioned. I'm trying not to give too much away. Lots of the characters have the same name in different time periods, which is all part of what I think Hanya Yanagihara is doing with this book. Anyway, I have to say I found the Hawaii section really hard work. It was quite dense. I wasn't quite sure what I was meant to feel about it. Like, I understood that it was about colonisation, utopias, what people's paradises are, which is becoming clear as the theme of the book, hence probably the title. Again, not spoiling anything. I just found I wasn't invested, and that was quite hard because it's a big chunk of book, and I was just kind of like, and I'm trying to work out as I go on, does that section need to be in the book? And I can't quite work out if it does, although Hawaii is now mentioned in the 3rd part of the book, which I'm reading now, which is called, is it called Zone 8? I think I want to say it is. Let me find that page. I've got really itchy nose. Yeah, Zone 8, which is book 3, which is made of 10 parts, and I'm now on I'm about to start part 3 of that. It's set in 2093 at first, and we have an unnamed narrator who is telling us about their life in 2093, where, and this could be triggering for many people after the last couple of years, the world is ravaged basically by different pandemics. They had a big one in they're calling it a mild one in 2020, which I was a bit like, ugh. And then there was a bigger one in 39, and I think one in 40 something, and then an epic one at the end of that, and it's how people are surviving post that, and how it's got a little bit of there's things like what do they call it? There's certain things that happen where it reminds me of Handmaid's Tales, where there's like sort of group mass killings or something, but although we're not really told what it's called, it's just called, I can't remember, it's not called a sacrifice, it's called something else. Anyway, that you realise they don't know very much about each other. They're married, but they don't know very much about each other, and then one of them discovers their husband's letters, and we've suddenly started to go back to 2040. I think we start in 2039 actually, and go onwards as sort of pandemics hit and other things are going on and the world is in chaos, and just see how it evolves. And it is, I think, frightening, but also brilliantly written, and properly back engaged into the book, like in a huge way, which is good because it's the biggest part of the book. I shall report back when I've got sort of halfway through. I've got another 2 parts to go before that, and then I think we're on the home stretch. Basically, so if I say I loved part 1, book 1, and all the Edith Wharton-y kind of vibe that it gave, I would have really loved a whole book of that, and maybe that will come at some point because there's a character called Florence I want to hear more about. That's a request, Hanya, if you ever see this. Then the second part, less keen on, although I thought it was incredible what it said about grief in the first part, and I did find it interesting what it was saying about race and culture and cultural heritage and colonisation, and how people will take on cultural appropriation, basically. And then this one is very much about pandemics and science, but at the same time family and love, and yeah, there's so many themes in all of them, and I can see how it's all sort of coming together. I can't work out how it's going to finish at all. I've got another 200 something pages to go, for goodness sake. Very much enjoying it again now. That, like I said, part 2 in book 2, hard work. Some people will fly through it, but I found that hard work. Anyway, I'm going to get up now because I really need some breakfast. I am hungry. And now we must say farewell to Charlie the Christmas tree. Or was he Norman the Norwegian spruce?
It was never Charlie.
What was he then?
I don't know.
We didn't even name him. Do I want to do my hair? Maybe I do. Taking Christmas down. I feel a bit sad about it, actually. Well, this is a different angle for filming, isn't it? Please ignore that clock there. It's completely for display only. The tick drives me insane. I really, really wanted one, but the TikTok wild. Also thought it'd be nice to just show you the roaring fire on this New Year's Eve. It's actually about 10:15. I'm going to get changed into some lovely pyjamas. Me and Chris have got fancy pyjamas for New Year's Eve. I still can't believe it's going to be January in like a couple of hours in 2022 in a couple of hours. That blows my mind. Anyway, I'm about 50 pages from the end of To Paradise by Hanya Yanagihara. You know that, I've been talking about this whole video. And quite a lot has happened. There's been some quite big reveals, and I don't want to spoil it, but also I can't spoil it because things are sort of, I want to say racking up. What do I mean? Things are sort of, as it's heading towards a conclusion, the pace is going a bit quicker, and yeah, that's all I'll say about that. I have found one thing really fascinating. I was talking to you before about how the third part of the book is set, in the future. There's pandemics going on, and we are getting to hear about a marriage from one partner in the marriage. Now, I don't think this is spoiled to say this at all, but that partner is a woman, and it's really interesting, Hanya Yanagihara writing from a woman's point of view, because, as I mentioned, her writings up to this point, and indeed with The Little Life, was so much about men miscommunicating with each other, what men aren't saying together, but also being inside the interior minds of these men. And yeah, I found that really, really interesting. Also, we discovered that there are, in this future, you have free nights in your marriage where you can go off and do whatever you like one night a week, and you're just left to do it. And she follows her husband to find out what's going on. I shall say no more about that. There's some more reveals in the letters that I mentioned between her husband and this Peter. And yeah, I'm really enjoying this. I have to say, like, I did find the middle a bit stodgy, but the first part, book 1 in this book, just amazing. Would love a whole book of that. Could easily have had a whole book of this part 2. And whilst I think the ripples between the different sections, and there is a nod in this third book to the first book within the book, lots of books. But while it's this sort of thread, I guess, and yet it all somehow is working. So unless something dreadful happens in the last 50 pages, which I'll tell you all about in my first January wrap-up, even though, you know, technically I've read most of it in December, but I'm not going to read the final 50 pages until after midnight has struck, and I'm not going to film them, because I want to wrap this video up and then just have a late night but a very long line and a chilled day on Saturday before I put this up on Sunday. I'll talk about it more then, because I think as well it's going to be a book that I need to think about. What I have really, really loved about it is it's very different from A Little Life. The writing, you still get like a real sense of that writing, like it's beautiful, and also actually one thing I was thinking is, whilst this book isn't making me, it hasn't made me cry at all, it's definitely made me feel a lot of emotions, and it's definitely looked at like loneliness and being an outsider, even when the world seems to be more accepting of outsiders, or when such huge things like pandemics are going on, how your family or personal, not family, your personal dramas and troubles can feel as big as those things. And I think that's what Hanya Yanagihara does so incredibly well. And yeah, I mean, I just think it's another brill book by her. It's not A Little Life, but I wasn't expecting it to be A Little Life, and I don't know if it's fair to compare it to A Little Life, because A Little Life had a specific effect on me. I still need to read The People in the Trees, and maybe I'll read that like at the beginning of 2023 or something. But yeah, so anyway, I'm gonna wrap up for now. I hope you've enjoyed this vlog. I'm not used to doing like one book. As you could see, as I went along, I tried to detour and deviate and try and fit a few more in, but it just wasn't working. It was about focusing on this. And yeah, I think what I'm gonna probably do now is take a fancy photo of the book. I've got the hardback, which actually you're leaning on right now. I mean, it makes a very, very good camera prop, as well as a great read. Yeah, I'll take a picture of the book and then get ready for New Year's Eve, and I think the snacks are due as well soon. Exciting. But a huge thanks to watching the channel this year, and I'll say it again in a bit, I'm sure, but have a happy, well, I hope you've had a happy New Year as this goes live, and I will be back with lots more content in the rest of 2022. If there's anything you'd like to particularly see, do let me know in the comments down below, and if you get this far, leave me a fire emoji. That'd be great, and I will speak to you all very, very soon. Bye. And now we're in our New Year pajamas. Why not?
Shit.
It's into a spaceship. Cheers.
Cheers.
Can we go to bed now, please?
Yes.
Hi everyone, and Happy New Year, because it is now 2022, and I have finished To Paradise by Hanya Yanagihara, and I did think it was very, very good indeed. I know there was that soddy middle, and I can't believe I'm about to say the thing that I always get across when I hear, which is, oh well, it's all about how a book ends, because I think you've got to be able to get there, and there is that slightly stodgy middle, if I'm honest. But yeah, I thought it was very, very good, and I do need to think about it a bit. There's some wowzer stuff. And yeah, I can't say any more for fear of spoiling it. I'm going on about whether I should put this video up, having edited it. I'm not sure it's my favourite vlog ever. I seem to be having a bit of, what do you call it, vlogger's doubt or something. But one thing I did want to mention actually is I've been and watched, and this was another reason I nearly didn't put this up. Emma of Drinking By Myself has done a reading vlog of To Paradise. On Book Break. I'll link it down below so that you can go and see it. It's much better than this one. It's much more succinct than this one, and that gave me vlogger's doubt. Is that what? I almost said vloggers droop. That's another thing. Anyway, but I just thought I would end it here and wish you a very, very happy new year. Thank you for all of your love for my Books of the Year video. That's been much appreciated. I can't believe how many of you have watched it. That's bonkers. And like I said, in the comments below, do let me know what you'd like to see in vlogs going forward this year. And leave a fire emoji and buy another fireplace, because yes, the libraries are changing. Yeah, just happy 2022, and here's to a fabulous year of reading. And thank you for watching in 2021, and hopefully we'll continue having lots of bookish chat, lots of bookish adventures and more in the forthcoming 12 months of 2022. Ooh. I've already started vlogging the next vlog, and it's going to be more than one book, I promise, because I'm not sure that's my forte. Or maybe you liked it. Let me know that in the comments down below too. I'm waffling because I hate ending videos, so I'll just say goodbye. Happy 2022. Thanks for all the chats. Thanks for all the watching. Thanks for just being brill. And yeah, here's to a fabulous forthcoming year. Bye.